Good morning. My name is Thiago Butera, and I'm a sophomore here at Derryfield. Starting a new school is always a challenge, and my first day at Derryfield was no exception. As I was walking down the stairs of the bus for the first time, my body was shaking, and my mind was starting to race. I don't really know anyone here, I thought, which started to make me even more nervous. As people began hopping off the bus in front of me, I followed them as they entered through the back door of the upper school, through the hallway, and down the stairs to the caf. I felt nervous and unprepared, even though I had familiarized myself with where all my classes were on retreat day. I truly hope that this school, this community, will not only be loving and accepting, but change and help me to grow in many ways which I thought were impossible. Reflecting back on my freshman year, one of the best character building experiences was JV boys soccer. A sport I had never played before and one that I needed to quickly adapt to. At first, it was rather odd to me that right after school, I had to stay for practices and games every day from 3:30 to 5:30, and then sprint to the bus for 5:45. Between the running, skill learning, understanding the game of soccer, cleaning up, and sprinting to the bus, it was safe to say the first couple practices had me completely drained. I had used a lot of energy that had been used in previous years for homework just to finish practice. It was then that I realized that this was another part of entering high school, creating a balance. With that being said, my issues and quick resolution didn't exempt me from facing other adversities in soccer. I've never been well coordinated, which made it difficult for me to control a soccer ball at my feet. Whatever my coaches did put me in to give me an opportunity, I gave up the ball to the opposition nearly every time. Eventually, the 2023 boys JV soccer team became connected in a way I had never experienced before. All of a sudden, I went from being a novice, knowing no one on the team or anything about the sport, to someone who would hop into drills with the older kids, to be an example of how to improve our game, or even try to give advice and strategies to gain a better understanding. Regardless of the circumstances, my teammates were able to help me learn and ultimately have fun. At the end of the day, the boys JV soccer season really made me reflect on why Derryfield decided to have two sports required in its curriculum. Sports didn't feel like a requirement anymore, nor like a chore, but a hobby where I could connect, have fun, and learn. Another space I found myself challenged in was public speaking. When I saw public speaking wasn't an elective, I figured it would help me to interact with new people and to shy away from the fear of speaking in big audiences. I remember stepping into the Lyceum to go to public speaking for the first time and being very intimidated just by the thought of having to present in front of the entire class. I quickly realized after a couple of classes that I completely overthought the elective. Just as with soccer, it was not always comfortable, but I built my courage from watching other students perform while I was stepping out of my comfort zone. One of my favorite speeches I got to give was my toast. Crafty experience which taught me how I could make other people's lives special by shouting them out and sharing our own experiences with others while making me think outside the box. Here's what I have learned. Change takes time and builds character. Being part of a new community forced me to step outside of my comfort zone. Stepping out of my comfort zone created character and grew me to be the best person I could possibly be. It really encouraged me to connect with my peers. And along the way, I began to connect the dots in order to grow relationships and friendships with people I never thought I would have. All the things I have spoken about in today's speech ultimately encapsulate the core value of Focus this year: character. So my final message is this. Sometimes all you need is time to pass, a change of scenery, and to step outside of your comfort zone to shape you into an entirely different person who can benefit not only from your peers, from the world as a whole. Thank you.